Well, good afternoon, Not Move Podcast. I'm Chief316. Hope you have yourself a great day. Just wanted to come in for the NASCAR recap, go through New Hampshire and talk about the Mobile One 301 at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Trophy's a 25-pound lobster, and your boy Ryan Blaney got it done. His first ever win at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. I got to say, as far as those Team Penske cars, they were in a class of their own. So we're going to try and break it down just a little bit. Going to recap the points, and we're also going to go through a small preview for next week. So let's go ahead and get it. For starters, there's nothing else you can say other than Team Penske and Josh Berry and the Wood Brothers, who's a satellite team of Team Penske. Those cars were in their own zip code as far as the 12 of Ryan Blaney, the 22 of Joey Logano, and the 21 of Josh Berry. Those cars knew what they were doing. They had great strategy, and they were just overall fast. Those cars were just lights out. I will say this, you did have William Byron, who honestly finally had himself a good finish. You had Josh Berry, who did all right. You also had Chase Elliott, who took a strategy call rather than going to get. He had 7-lap fresher tires, so he elected to stay out as well, and honestly give himself a good top six finish, just so that way he can save himself on some points. Just because you had guys like Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace who didn't really finish that great, so they honestly fell behind the curve. I will say this as a disclaimer. This race to me is one of those races I felt wasn't supposed to be in the playoffs, but they just SMI needed a date just to move it around. I do know I'm 90% sure next year New Hampshire will not be in the playoffs, so hopefully there will be something a little bit more exciting. The only other piece of news to report that I guess that's newsworthy is the issues with Toyota between Denny Hamlin and Ty Gibbs. For those of you that don't know, the owner of the owner of Denny Hamlin's car and Ty Gibbs's car is Joe Gibbs and Joe Gibbs Racing, which coincidentally enough is the grandfather of driver Ty Gibbs, who was involved in this situation. They did great media training. They both respected the interviews that they had to go through. They both said, it's a shame, yada yada yada. Do the media training, do the tour, all of that stuff. I will say this, internally, there's got to be something going on, because how I felt Ty Gibbs was racing Denny Hamlin on Sunday, you're not going to win the race that early in the race. One, two, you didn't have the car. You could clearly see that pretty preemptively. I want to say by the end of probably 30 laps within this race, you could tell who was going to win this race, because like I said, those Team Penske cars were honestly in a league of their own. So when you have a teammate who's also fighting for a championship like Denny Hamlin coming up, I understand. I'm competitive as they come, but that's my teammate and he's in the championship fight and I'm not. He can use that point, because I know as far as owner points go, yes, you may still be involved in the owner points championship. However, drivers championship gets out a little bit more bonuses for the chartered teams. So I got to say, as far as internally goes, I would definitely not want to be in Joe Gibbs's shoes right now, having to side with one of my most decorated drivers versus my grandson, who has been in the sport maybe 4 or 5 years. So I just think right there, that's a rock in a hard place. I'm glad it ain't me, that's for sure. So now let's go ahead and take care of our point situation. So with that win, Ryan Blaney punches his ticket into the next round. So not that he's going. He can honestly coast this weekend at New Hampshire. So with this being, and also the Charlotte Roval, excuse me, so he's able to kind of relax for 2 weeks, not have to worry about it, and focus on Talladega, Martinsville, that next round of tracks that are honestly tricky. So you have Ryan Blaney at the top of the points. You have William Byron. Then you have Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, who honestly, Joey Logano going into this race was below the cut line. He was not looking good. Then you have Chase Elliott, then Chase Briscoe. That's your top eight right there. Okay. Now, moving down, these are the drivers that are facing elimination. You have the one in Ross Chastain. You have the two of Austin Cindric. You have both 2311 race cars in Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace. They both did not finish very well at New Hampshire. It was just one of those Sundays. If anything, you could call this their mulligan. Now, I say that, and I left those two 2311 cars at the last, and I wanted to go at the last of my breakdown for the points because I wanted to let you know, moving into the preview for next Sunday's race at the Kansas Speedway, 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. I got to say 2311's playground is Kansas Motor Speedway. That place, and also for Toyota, that place produces some very, very good racing. If you are a NASCAR fan, and you already know what Kansas Motor Speedway is. If you are not a racing fan, if you're able to, if you live in the Kansas City metro area, go watch the race. If you are not a NASCAR fan and you want to see what it's all about, turn on this race this weekend. I urge you. The racing is amazing at Kansas. Okay. It's a 400-mile race. I think it's the Hollywood Casino 400, if I remember correctly. I will say this race is going to be fast. This race is going to have a lot of strategy. I will say this is more of a 2311 playground and a Hendrick Motorsports playground. These guys, those two organizations always, always, always just produce at these two tracks. I don't know how, I don't know why, but it's really awesome to watch. I will say this, when it comes to the Kansas Motor Speedway, I'm a little biased when it comes to it just because I've been to a lot of races on the NASCAR circuit. I've just got to say, personally, this is my favorite. It's not just because it's my home. It is because the way they reconfigured this track back in, I think it was 2013 or 2012 or 2013 when they reconfigured this racetrack, and it's just produced some of the best racing since. So with that being said, I think I covered everything I wanted to cover this week. I really didn't see many interesting stats. I know this is kind of a boring episode, but I at least wanted to get this out there so that way you, the listener, you, the fan, can honestly know what's going on in NASCAR if you've been following me. I do appreciate it. Uh, I think that wraps up our episode for today for the recap for the Mobile One 301. Now we can go relax for a couple of days and check out the Hollywood Casino 400 at Kansas. I always got to say thank you to our listeners, the viewers. Y'all rock. Please keep it going. Please keep hitting subscribe on the YouTube channel. Follow us on all the social medias. If there's a social media out there that we're not on, let me know. I promise you we'll be on it. Believe me, Not Moved is growing. Not Moved is going to have an amazing presence very soon. It's only continuing to grow. Uh, Other than that, I've got to say, I hope y'all have yourselves a great day on purpose and stay not moved. Bye, y'all.
This non-casual podcast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without the authorized written consent of the Not Move Podcast Network. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.